Hey guys, the name of our next session is Courage or the warrior, the inner warrior, whatever you like. I prefer courage because the foundation of the word courage comes from heart. So anyway, we're gonna talk about the inner warrior of a man, the inner courage of a man. I believe that every man, as the boy is being brought into the world, is prepared. Inside is a seed of courage, really strong courage. And with most of us, that seed gets undeveloped, squashed, malnourished, you name it. And very often it's a combination of them all. But with some people, depending on the environment they had and who knows what else, other unseen reasons, it has remained whole. Well, more or less whole. And then that's why we read about him in the history book and say, wow, where did that little man or little person got that courage from within? That courage comes from within. And you, my friend, you have it. You have that courage. How I know that? I know myself now. I've been on that journey for like 7 years, and I've discovered this courage within myself. Against all odds, because now you know a little bit of my story, and there was no courage in that story. The biggest tragedy of my story was the lack of courage. I could never be courageous. I could never express myself. I could never say no to evil. I could never fight physically. God forbid. I was shaking as a teenager. If I was confronted, even in my 20s, if I was confronted with someone's anger, not even physical fighting, but with someone's anger, even if he was a small man or a small woman for that matter, I was shaking. I couldn't. That courage that I had within, deep down, to stand up against evil was all covered with all these neuroses and with all these fears and shame and many things. I couldn't be one with my body then. I couldn't be one with my heart. And because I work with men and I'm doing this, I see that every man has it. Every man. The question is how much stuff, to put it politely, there is been covered with. How much rubbish covers it? How many lies? How many insecurities? How much shame there is? Anyway, a boy comes into the world, and the boy, if he's left to be a boy, boys love superheroes, comics, and all that. I myself, I know I did. One of my favorite heroes was a guy who stood up against the mafia. It was a fictional story, but it was a TV series about the Italian mafia that my parents watched, and I watched with them. The guy's name, the main protagonist's name was Corrado Catani, Italian name, Italian mafia. Or he was not. He was the policeman that fought the Italian mafia, and he got killed. And I never forgot the day he got killed. I kept drawing pictures of him. I must have been 10, and there was something beautiful about him dying without renouncing his true self. He could have been bribed, he could have been bought, he could have been intimidated. He was not. He was a true courageous man, and that's why he was handsome. I believe that if you're yourself, if you don't compromise with your heart, you even look different. Hopefully, a couple of years from now, I will look different. I'll look more of me. And that's what people like when they see someone that looks good. They think it's the shape of their body or face. No. A man, when he's in touch with that inner heart that is full of courage and boldness and just unhindered self, this man is, wow, he's a true man, even if he might be that short, doesn't matter. Another hero that I was fascinated with was one of our old national heroes during the Ottoman Empire time. His name was Vasilevsky. If you Google him, there are a few things about him in English, not enough, but he was also, his name is lion-like. He was not a big tough guy. He didn't look very physical, but he had it all. He had the emotional capacity to cry, to hug his brothers and sisters. He had a heart to love, to write poetry, but he was a lion inside. And this is what we're after. What is the lion spirit? What happened? What happened to you? You see, whether you like it or not, you are a fighter. You are a lion at heart. You've got it. But what happened as you were growing up? What happened to that fighting spirit? Oh, I can tell you what happened to mine. First, the coldness between me and my dad created that insecurity. Uh-oh, he's not safe. He's dangerous, yeah, But he didn't make me feel that I could be dangerous. Quite the opposite. He made me feel that I could never be dangerous like him. Therefore, I shut off everything remotely to do with danger and being physical, because I knew I would fail. I knew I couldn't stand up to any bully, even when I was 3 or 4. I remember kindergarten, there was this boy who used to terrify me, and I used to dream about, I used to dream how I appeased him, and I was maybe 4, maximum 4, maybe even 3. I remember the dreams how I appeased this boy. I wanted to make him feel, oh yeah, but deep down, very deep, I resented myself and him. So you see, if we disown our courage, if we allow the world to crush that courage, and then we believe that lie, I'm not good in that area, that strength, that passion, that lion goes underground, and it surfaces in depression, hatred, resentment. You see, a man who is in touch with his courage is a safe man. He's safe. I just watched a video someone published about, there was this MMA fighter, champion, huge guy, strong guy, fighter, professional fighter. Someone tried to attack him in a restaurant, some drunk guy. He was a big guy too. And that MMA fighter very calmly, he held him on the floor until the security came in. He just kept saying, calm down, calm down, calm down. Almost like, I don't know if, I just watched a snippet of it. I don't know if this MMA guy was making fun of him or not. Maybe not, because the way he sounded was like, he didn't want to fight. He could have flattered this guy, but he just said, calm down, calm down. He didn't have anything to prove, because he knew who he was. He knew he was a fighter. He knew he was a warrior. He knew he had a lot of courage and a lot of strength. With that other guy, he had a lot to prove. And you see, some other guy like that, that's maybe, or any other guy that's never had any training in this area, that's never had any experience, that's never had any confidence in this area, they are a lot more dangerous than the guys who actually had. Very often. Because with them, that strength and courage is underground, and you don't know how that's going to surface. Normally, they've got a lot of resentment. I know, because that's how I was. If someone bullied me verbally, or just make fun of me that in the way that I didn't like, I wouldn't joke back. I wouldn't do that banter, because I knew I was a lesser man. Lesser man is not equal, so how can I have banter with that guy? So deep down I resented that guy. Deep down I resented myself, and I was thinking, you worm, to myself. And I was thinking much worse thing about that guy, and I was fantasizing, walking away thinking, I could beat you. Yeah, but I couldn't confront, you see. And very often in my late teens and mid-20s, especially when I had drugs and alcohol involved, my violence finally manifested in a very ugly way. And people say, where did that come from? Because I was not confrontational, but then when I had enough to drink, I said, okay, I'm going to show you now. And this is, what is this? What have you got to prove? Why? You can put someone in their place with one word when you know that you are strong and courageous, that you don't even need to fight. But you see, people who don't know that, they're the ones that are either looking for a fight or hating anything to do with fighting or violence, because they knew they're not good. Hating themselves, hating the other. Just Google some of the mass murderers. Look at their faces. Many of them are not big tough guys. Many of them they wear glasses, they're slim, they're skinny. Who knows? Where's the warrior spirit? How much suppression and oppression and depression have been there before they decide, you know what, I'm going to get the gun and I'm going to show everyone who's the boss. I'm not saying everyone, that's everyone's case. But you get my point. We need to develop that warrior spirit. And by the way, just a quick disclaimer, what we're doing here now is I'm not just talking about, I don't just want you to see what's wrong about you. Oh, you've been suppressed, you've been depressed, whatever. I believe we can change. I believe the soul is immortal. I believe the soul is eternal. It's outside of time. The brain might die, but the soul will never die. So the changes that we can go through, they're real. Today I'm totally different than what I was 1 year ago. Even if you give me millions now, I wouldn't want to go back. I don't want to walk through that same darkness to get to where I am now. Going back to the warrior spirit, to the fighter spirit, to courage, to the lion. You've got a lion within yourself. Well, what happened with me? What was my story of harm? Where did that lion go with me? Well, slowly but steady as I was growing up, I realized I wasn't going to be as tough and strong as my father. And then, as I told you before, when I was 15, that knowledge was cemented totally when I got punched by this guy. He gave me a black eye, no big deal for most people. For me, that was the final blow. I knew then. I just knew because of the way my body reacted when I was faced with this guy. He was not bigger than me, but I didn't have it. I didn't have that oneness with my body and spirit to resist him straight away. Maybe if I had it, we would not have come to blows. Well, blows, I mean, from his side. Because the bullies, they smell, they need to feel significant. So they're gonna go for someone weaker. Not physically weaker, but spiritually weaker. So that's the story of my life. Bullies, weak people, picking on me because they knew that I was weaker, and I was. But what they didn't know, and what I didn't know, that inside of me there was a lion. And this lion was waiting to get out, waiting to serve justice. And this is when the realm, your realm, because we all have realms. Even you might have a small realm when you're younger, a bigger realm when you're older. This is when the realm is at peace, when the lion is right next to you. And you've got that sword, but you don't have to use it. It's very dangerous when your sword is hidden in the darkness. It's probably stained with blood. Your own blood, maybe. Don't even know it. You have strength, you have courage. And maybe you've been bullied in the past, maybe by your own dad, maybe by people in school. This is where your warrior spirit, this is where the lion got crushed. But he's still alive. He needs some healing. He needs some strengthening. You need to bring him back up. That's what I do with men. Sometimes I had like hunches. I just had a picture of this guy hitting something. So I go home and I grab the boxing pads and I said, do me a favor, hit this. Bang! A retired school teacher can hit the pads. And maybe I know for sure. He's never hit anything in his life. And suddenly, bang! Where did that come from? Years of suppression of that lion. That lion doesn't want to take it anymore. Who can blame him? We need to be restored as warriors. We need to be restored as the lions that we're meant to be. But we need to go back. So I want you to just sit down in a quiet place, in contemplation, prayer, meditation, whatever your way to get in touch with yourself is. Think and pray and feel. What happened to that lion spirit? What happened to the warrior inside of you? Write down the times and the places where that warrior was either neglected, your father couldn't bring you up, your father couldn't initiate you into that. Because that warrior spirit doesn't just get initiated in fighting. It gets initiated when the boy needs to overcome some obstacles. Physical. It's always physical. It's always physical with boys. In the beginning. Later, other obstacles come. But when the boy is not one with his body in terms of overcoming physical obstacles, things will not go well. Many areas of him will be shut down, and later his life will be limited. And there will be symptoms of that shutting down. That's my daughter again. Mila, come in, baby. There she is. She's a little lion. You want to finish that video together? Come in. Come to daddy. Don't embarrass me now. Come to daddy. I want people to know that you listen to what I'm saying. Come on, cheeky monkey. Okay. So guys, you're not a baby anymore. We've got a baby and she does this. So it's strange things because she wants to be like the baby. Mama is coming later. So guys, think about where the warrior was suppressed, where the warrior inside of you was crushed. Think about it. Let's go and find that lion. Let's bring him back to life again.